Hey everybody, everyone, everybody, everybody, everyone. I hope this finds you well. I am in Libertyville, Illinois, north of Chicago, about 15 minutes, in a beautiful location that is being generously um, provided to me, like so many of my Red Fred Project hosts and residences that I've been able to stay, all of whom I've loved deeply and shared really special experiences. Thank you to all my past hosts this last year. You're very specific and important to all of this. I'm with Scott and Gayla Clausen, and I'm situated in their beautiful, gorgeous living room with lots of natural light out this side, lots of natural light coming from here. And they've made me feel very much at home this next, just the last few days as I've come in, and then also as I'll be here for the next few months, weeks. Just a quick, if any of you care to watch this, I'm going to just share a little bit more today because we have a really unique situation with our storyteller from Illinois. His name's Alejandro. And I'm about, I'm going to be headed over, I'm going to go see him. It's about a 50-minute drive to where he lives, so I have to go get some things prepped into the van, etc. So I wanted to just, I felt just like sharing a couple things. Number one is like this is the last month in this Hatch a Book tour, this 12, sort of like 12-month intense incubator and doing crucible of producing books with all these kids across the country. I left Salt Lake City in April, and I've basically been on the road since. And it's been a phenomenal experience, very colorful, and I'm not going to take the time to talk about that here. I am going to take the time to talk to you a little bit about Alejandro and why this specific storytelling situation with this storyteller is very unique. Alejandro lives with a condition called spinal muscular atrophy. It's a genetic disorder that affects the nerves, and the nerves which then don't allow the muscles of his body to work as they usually do. And as I was getting ready through my notes, some of the each time before I start the project, I have a discovery phone call with the parents or parent of or the guardian of these children, and we have a very kind of like open way to discuss what's going on, everything from medical to personal to family dynamics. And as I was reading my notes and what Guillers, who's his mother, Alejandro's mother, shared with me, I thought I should just read this to you because it's from her, even though we always provide a really beautiful brief 250-word synopsis of what the children's extraordinary circumstances. Thanks to our friends at Patient Worthy who do rare disease advocacy. They write up a bite-sized bit that you can read about it. That's in all the books, and it's on all the website pages of our kids, because we're trying to help educate the little window of time we have with them and with you. But I thought I should read this to you so that you can get an idea about spinal muscular atrophy, because as you'll find out and as you watch where and what I'm going to do with Alejandro, you'll see it's very, very unique. I've never met anyone who's lived with this, and much less tried to create a book with them. So it's specifically unique, as you'll see. So in part of the discovery documents, I asked them to explain the extraordinary circumstance, and this is what his mother wrote. When Alejandro was 5 months old, he was diagnosed with SMA, spinal muscular atrophy, a neuromuscular condition that affects the ability to move muscles. He's mostly paralyzed, depends on a ventilator to breathe, and requires constant medical attention, mostly to maintain his airway clear. He's unable to swallow, and he cannot eat or drink by mouth. Because of his muscle weakness, Alejandro is unable to produce verbal speech. He uses a speech-generating device that he controls with his eyes. He's acquired an amazing level of proficiency, and he's capable of communicating very effectively and efficiently. SMA does not affect the brain, and children with this condition have normal cognitive development. Alejandro is 100% dependent and needs assistance to perform every single task of his daily life. He enjoys reading, which is something he can do independently with his device. For everything else, he depends on others, mostly his parents, to entertain him and to create fun activities. So, immediately it puts me into a frame of mind of wonder and just incredibly curious about how this child does the everyday. How do his parents do the everyday? How do those around them do the everyday? And I get a great sense already that it's just kind of an incredible thing that this whole family is doing and being together. Something I'm not used to seeing as far as this extensive, as far as how they interlace and help and assist with one another. So he's cognitively, he's just as sharp as any kid his age, maybe even a little sharper. He's really smart. He was taught to use this device, and I guess at a very young age, and is bilingual as well. So he and I, when we've had our Skype sessions, I've talked to him, and then he looks at the computer, and the computer reads his eye movements, and then the computer talks back to me through Alejandro's voice. Alejandro talks through that to me. So today that's going to be a function of what we're doing as well, which is just amazing. Incredible that the technology that's evolved and been created to help a populace who identifies in this manner and has these restrictions on their physicality. It's just absolutely phenomenal. And it reminds me of great minds like Helen Keller and Stephen Hawking, and people who were who either came into this life with a very different set of cards than most of us, and who have persisted in large part to just their own drive, and then also coupled with some people and or technologies who've been willing to explore how to improve the daily life and the real functionality of these people in society. So getting to work with Alejandro is, to me, it's a first, and I'm very excited about it. Regarding his interests and hobbies, Alejandro is very social. He enjoys being with his friends and meeting new people. He likes reading and going to the movies. I'm going to see if we can go to the movie while I'm here. I just saw Onward, so I loved it, so I wonder if we can go. He also likes bowling and flying kites by the lake in the summertime. And he loves going to school, and he's very well integrated and has classmates and friends. And his mother told me that a lot of his friends have grown up with him like this, and they have this is just how they know him and love him. And it's great that he has such a nice social atmosphere. He also loves going to the hospital. And in spite of his condition, he's never had any serious issues. And although we go to the hospital often, it is usually for a general checkup. Children's hospitals are amazing places. The mother says, but I can also attest now, having visited a few through the kids that I've worked with, these children's hospitals are just incredible places. And with staff and people working there, doctors, therapists, nurses, healthcare, just there's some, just like they have this certain ilk that's just beautiful. Amazing places, they're full of amazing people. When Alejandro goes to see his doctors, he's the star and the center of attention. He absolutely loves it. Family is very important to Alejandro. Shay, who's his father, grew up in Hawaii, and Grandma comes to play with Alejandro every Sunday, and she adores him. Tutupa, who's the grandpa in Hawaiian, his paternal grandfather, comes to visit several times a year, and Alejandro always looks forward to having him around. Summer is usually family time. Guillermo is natively from Spain, and she has lots of siblings, and every summer siblings come over to visit from Spain to stay with the family. We do a lot of things outdoor, and Alejandro loves having a house full of people and speaking Spanish with everyone. His education. Alejandro's in 3rd grade. He loves school, and he's a straight A student. His favorite subject is math. He has a dedicated aide that helps him write and holds the material for him. He is in a general education class where he is the only student with a disability. His classmates are great kids, and Alejandro is a very popular student in class. Everyone wants to sit with him and work with him. Most of his classmates have been in the same class with him since kindergarten, and it's very amazing to see how children normalize everything and see how they lack any type of prejudice. I want to just shout that from the rooftops. Alejandro is totally thriving in school, says his mother. So, that was some notes for me, and then we had a long discussion. So I was going to share. I wanted to share this with you as I'm just wrapping up and going to get going, and invite you to, in whatever aspect of this project that you intersect with or watch or see, or I know many of you now know how much of my life I've dedicated to this thing, because I really find it deeply valuable and personally enriching, and on a community level enriching. And what we're trying to do here is see these children in different ways than they're typically seen, and give them voice in ways that they haven't been given voice before. And that is through a book, and that is through a story, and that is through meaning, and that is through lessons, and that is through themes and settings. It's all these things that these kids can create and do and make. And then we come along and make it possible. So it's a real joy to have this very unique, and I all of my storytellers are special to me, all of them, all the families. I approach each of them with a really deep honor and love. They all mean so much to me. And sometimes it's hard because I don't get to keep updated or see them or have a lot of contact after the book signings, and but they are forever lodged in me. And this one is very unique, this opportunity with this wonderful boy. And I'm sure glad we get to do this. We're going to have a lot of fun. All right. I'll keep you guys posted. Usually on Red Fred Project Facebook, or we do a lot on Instagram, which is where you can find most of this. Thanks.